fourth chapter titled My Load Bearer and My Architect from my manuscript From Bhaiyas to Bhai. This chapter is part of a fictional story. Any resemblance to real individuals, events, or institutions is purely coincidental. The characters and situations portrayed are intended for storytelling and reflective purposes only. The themes discussed may include emotional, social challenges and are not meant to serve as professional, legal, or psychological advice. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, I'd like to read out the chapter to you. The moon carefully listened to the conversation between Ankita and Darshan. It became so engrossed in their childhood memories that it asked the sun to wait a little longer, not to break into the darkness just yet. In that darkness, where faces were unseen. The roads and streets of how Darshan Bhaiya became a Daga Bhai slowly unfolded through the siblings' conversation. Ankita said, Darshan Bhaiya, do you remember how I used to make tiny houses with bricks that lay on the playground near our home? You used to help me bring those bricks. You even helped me and my friends build those tiny homes. Darshan looked at her and smiled. Then, with a hint of sadness, he said, Yes, I remember. I always wanted to build homes and never imagined I would become the reason for breaking so many. He noticed Ankita's expression change and quickly shifted the topic. I wasn't just your architect back then, he said softly. I was also your load bearer. Not in the literal sense of carrying a household, but I carried every load you had. Do you remember our school days? I used to carry your heavy school bag. Why did you need so many books? My bag was always lighter than yours. Ankita moved forward to hug him, but he remained untouched. He existed only as a haunted presence near her heart, a form shaped by shame and guilt that she carried within herself. Overwhelmed, Ankita cried and said, Bhaiya, you did so much for me during our childhood. When you were being pushed into darkness, I wasn't there to help you, to show you the light. Instead, I only felt hatred when you walked those paths alone. I am also to be blamed, she paused and asked softly. You were so innocent and kind. Why did you become a Bhai? You don't have to know that story, Darshan replied gently. You don't have to feel guilty. You're mine and will always be my sweet sister, soft like a cotton roll. Ankita said, I know a little of your story. The first time you raised your hand and your voice was to protect me, she continued. Those group of children near our home were troubling me. They teased me. You tried to stop them, and when they didn't listen, you raised your hand and your voice. That was the first time I ever saw you so angry. You must have been only 13 or 14. Darshan shook his head. No, Ankita, that wasn't the first time. My classmates never included me. I was never part of any group. I was alone. I found it difficult to speak or answer in the class. They mocked me. I tolerated it for a long time, and when I couldn't bear it anymore, I retaliated, he added. It's easy for people to judge and label others. They never try to understand what pushes someone onto those dark paths. It's easy to hate, but difficult to spread love and harmony. Only after walking through darkness did I learn to see both sides of a person. Ankita asked, You never told me any of this, Bhaiya. You spoke so well at home and helped me with my studies. Why was it so difficult for you to speak up in class? They were bullies, Darshan replied. They wanted to discourage me. To me, you were the most intelligent person, Ankita said. I always quoted you as an example of intelligence. After a pause, she asked, I always saw you with a group of friends. Who were they? Darshan explained, I couldn't stay alone for long or fight the powerful group in the class on my own, so I started mingling with the weaker students. Over time, I became like them. Eventually, we formed a strong group. Whenever we were bullied or teased, we fought back, he continued. Then fighting became a habit. We started creating trouble, hitting people, beating them up for no reason. Sometimes even innocent students were trapped in our web. You never told me this, Ankita said. There were no complaints about you from school either. Darshan replied, I used my intelligence for destruction. I became so clever that the powerful classmates turned into mice in front of me. They couldn't harm us anymore. In fact, we started harming them. They couldn't complain about me or my group. Ankita said firmly, what you did wasn't right. What's the difference between you and them? They were villains at first, but then they turned you into one. In the end, you made them win. She continued, if you had always walked away from them and learned to be strong on your own, maybe we wouldn't be paying the price of isolation, loneliness, and shame today. If you had shared your struggles with us, Papa and Mummy might have found a solution. She took a breath. Destruction is never a solution. You did the right thing by standing with the weak, but you went wrong by becoming like them. The method you chose were wrong. The fights were wrong. There is power in silence, Bhaiya. Silence has a unique way of making your opponents feel guilty. That night waited quietly, and as if hoping Ankita would understand the path her Bhaiya had taken to become a Bhai. That night became a mediator, a bridge between the siblings and the world. The world always waited for daylight. It never tried to understand the journey from Bhaiya to Bhai, or perhaps it never wanted to see that side of the story at all. Stories of inclusion and reform are difficult to tell because people who walk dark roads often fear the light and fear bringing light into others' lives. Ankita and Darshan's story did not end that night. Instead, it began anew with a different perspective, one connected to a garlanded photograph lying quietly in the storeroom. What would Ankita do with that photograph? Only the forthcoming chapters can reveal the answer. A photograph began this story, a point of view the world often ignores, yet one that still tries to be heard. A story that asks whether the world needs more bhaiyas and not bhais, and if it does, can the bhais be transformed or reformed into bhaiyas? That's all for the day. Do let me know your thoughts about the story by writing in the comment section. Thanks for watching and thanks for your time.